Okay, so in the last video, just right before this one, I explained kind of a bunch of different sectors, fields, and industries that have no problem explaining the value, explain the recognition value of what they do. Now I'm going to take my own background, okay, because I've had 18 different employers, and I've had about 30 different jobs, and I'm going to kind of just go over them and overview them and say, what are the ones where I had no problem explaining what I did? And one of the ones where I did have problems explaining what I do. And we're going to see some really good correlation here. So my first job was actually doing berry picking in strawberry picking and raspberry picking and apple picking and all that. I had no problem explaining what I did because it's just you're picking berries for the food market. Okay. Another job that I did, babysitting. You know what? No problem explaining what you do because you had people want to go out and have do things like get kids at home and they want to, so no problem explaining why they did that. No problem. Okay. Then I actually did, okay, I actually sold bubble gum at school during the breaks of school. I sold bubble gum and candies, Jolly Rancher candies and that during the 10-minute break between all the classes when I was 14, 15 years old to buy some designer jeans and stuff. I had no problem explaining what I did because everybody came to me to buy the bubble gum. And I'm telling you, I made a lot of money out of that and I actually bought some really nice jeans. And I wanted to, so everybody knew who I was in junior high school, no problem. So, so that's another example. Selling retail things, food and bubble gum works. No problem explaining what I did. Okay. Then I got a job I actually worked I worked as a janitor and a custodian for 10 years, actually. When France came back and did that, I had no problem explaining why I did that because I'm cleaning restrooms and I'm cleaning offices and I'm moving chairs and tables and cleaning the kitchen stuff and all that of this facilities. No problem explaining what I did. People understood. No problem. Yeah, no problem. For those 10 years, okay? Which put food on my table and which actually funded my several degrees in the things that were difficult to explain. Another job that I did, I was a bicycle mechanic in college. No problem. A bicycle mechanic and a bike salesperson. Bicycles, okay? No problem explaining what I did. It made sense to everybody. Another one, I worked on roofs. I actually did when I was in high school for one summer. I actually did the roof of a convent, okay, for nuns. No problem explaining what I do there. You're replacing that roof, okay? No problem. It's that kind of stuff. I'm trying to think of some other jobs. I'm trying to think of all these jobs I've ever done here. Um, let's see, what other did I do? I was a youth worker. I was a youth worker for a number of years, volunteer, and I actually got paid for it too. You know what? No problem. I do summer camps, kids. Youth work during the week, music stuff, keeping the kids busy and having fun. No problem. I explain what I do. No problems. Doing events for kids, going out and do music stuff and sports stuff. No problem explaining what I did. Never. Okay, never. Um, uh, then some other jobs I did later in life. So back to mechanical, Caterpillar, worked at Caterpillar. Hey, I just said big yellow machines. People know what I did. Now, I know the specific job I did, but if I just said, hey, I worked at Caterpillar, big yellow machines, we all know that is, right? Big yellow machines have big levers and lots of levers and things like that, and you got to drive them, right? And people know, okay? I didn't drive them, but I used that to actually explain what I did. Totally made sense to everybody. Just say John Deere or John Deere or Caterpillar, and it works, okay? Um, then when I worked in I'll jump into another thing. I worked in the telecom network, wireless telecom network industry for managing the data on the phones of the traffic, what's happening on the phones of all your SMS messages and for your calls. So all that data, all the calls and the SMSs and all that, you got to route it through servers. They get all the data's routing, and what happens at Christmas time or New Year's Eve, you know what? It gets a traffic jam of all the SMS messages. Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. Well, I explained that what I do is we built software to help kind of identify where the traffic jams are of the SMS messages, and we can help the engineers reroute the traffic, the SMS messages, so all your SMS messages can get delivered within like 20 seconds or 10 seconds, right? Rather than sitting for an hour waiting or 2 hours after the Happy New Year is passed. Okay, or you got to wait for another time zone for to say Happy New Year, right? People understood what I did. Okay. And when I said I worked on the software testing of that software testing team, and I ran the software testing team of that software, people know what I did. Okay. When I explained I explained that I did the training of the partner training and the customer training of all the telecom engineers for that software to do that stuff. People knew what I did. Okay. When I said that I was a project manager, a program manager, for all the major versions of software for such a product, people understood what I did. When I said there was when I was an ISO 9000 quality management auditor for process auditing and product auditing of the product teams for this type of software, you know what? People understand what I do. I do auditing, okay? Audits, okay? And you have reports at the end, and the ideas get certified. No problem explaining what I did. I'm not kidding. When I explained that I did our research and development infrastructure alignment at SAP, I'm coming to another one where I did. We had to take all of the development tools, bug tracking tools, test case management tools, backlog management tools for your backlog that you're going to do, Scrum tools, incident management tools, software coding input, and versioning tools for all the code that's being done, and code and software code storage and all that stuff. Nobody has a problem understanding what I did, because I'm running that project to make sure that we have an acquisition, and we bring in an acquisition, we align what they're doing with the mother company, and we try to get these things all kind of working together, so we don't, make them change over to go into things that can make them less efficient. People understand what I did. So, and so all these things, I'm just giving. This is just my career, okay? And I could every one of those things. I had never had a problem explaining what I did when I did those jobs, okay? Every single one of them. I'm just trying to think what other things I've done that is not language related. Boy, I mean, some people say I've done so many things in my life it's not even possible to have done this, but I'm explaining I've done all this stuff. For development operations. Oh yeah, I made videos. Okay, so I was the voiceover artist. I was actually no, this kind. I was the. We actually did product videos of the products, right, to the customers, and we made videos of this. What's new each quarter of this product, and I did the voice. I'm called the Voice. Okay, that's my nickname here at the France office for SAP France for the business objects products, because I'm called the Voice because I do the voiceover. Hey, you know what? No one understands. Everyone understands I'm the voice behind it. Okay. Hey, I'm a musician too, right? So I played in a lot of bands. I made a lot of did an album. Have done lots of concerts, and I do software. I do evaluations of guitars and pianos. And you know what? And that no one has a problem with explaining. They all understand what I do. No problem. Okay. It's all physical. It's all physical objects. Again, the current, universe, metaverse, or what do you want to call this thing, what we all live in, right? The real one. I'm just trying to think of other things I've done. Okay, all these jobs I've ever had, I've never actually had a problem explaining what I do to other people. I just say what I do. Yeah, yeah. But now I'm going to come to the thing is in the language industry. Now, when I was a language teacher, and I was a French and English language teacher. That people understood because you're actually teaching, and this is a different thing. And this was I made a whole nother video that's worth watching called the B2B, the business to business kind of factors in the language industry, because there I give a lot more examples of stuff. But all I want to say is language teaching is one of the only B2C, business to customer, actual things that you do. To really understand, because you know that the users are wanting to learn a language to do something with it. So the learners are learning the language to want to do something with it directly. But the rest, it's not. So the rest of it is really a B2B, B2B to B2B thing. So that makes it really hard for people to understand, especially in the language industry, okay? The language field, okay? Now, I'm not talking about teaching linguistics, because that's the thing I'll do another video on that one. Or the difference between those two things. But every single job that I've had that is not the ones I've just mentioned, that is language related. I struggled for many years, and I have heard people for 35 years struggle to explain what they do, why they're doing it, what the problem they're solving, and how it relates to the people that are, could potentially want the need for it, or if there's a need for it. And I'm not kidding. The whole thing, I've tried. And I finally figured out by I made another video on top of it called Why I Use Physical Objects. Why I use physical objects and props to explain what I do in language. Yes, because I do the little translation system inside the earbuds. So we do it. That's what I use. Okay. Or I built, or I did on iPhone. There's an app called Google Translate, Microsoft Translator. I put Haitian Creole into those. Hey, it takes 10 seconds to explain what I do. But it took me a long time to figure out how to do that because I was using physical objects, okay? But most people in the overall industry have a difficult time, okay, and I'm talking language industry in general. They have a difficult time explaining what they do and making the value to other people, explaining the value of that to other people, okay? So that's this is what I was trying to get at and explain the recognition value of it. And now we'll get to the video about, I'm going to do one about, I'll do a shorter one about language versus linguistics because I think it's an important one too. And I'll do another one about the actual crux of why it's difficult to explain what we do. Okay?